Hi guys, thanks so much for being here. Belina talking to you about the new moon on the 3rd of June. It is now the 26th of May. We've got plenty of time. I'm here in Mexico in Playa del Carmen. If you're also in Playa del Carmen or Cancun area, let me know. If you'd like a reading, all the details are in the section below. If you would like to know more about your particular sign, it's all on Patreon now. So please take a look at the links. Okay, so basically, beautiful things. It's raining outside, it's so lovely. Beautiful things can happen. It's like when life takes hold and just really holds you close. It's like this feeling of beauty that is now upon us. And I've been kind of like looking into this feeling for a while, this incredible quantum expansion that we're all going through. And what we needed to do this whole time was to trust and let us be held, let us be seen. Let it be when you are in love. Like let it be if you are not as well. Understand this futility of trusting your previous gut. Like 3 years ago, this didn't work for me. It's not like this anymore. We've held this prayer for each other. We've held this really beautiful baseline or this really beautiful connectivity for one another for a long time, or we didn't perhaps know how much we really did care about one another, or how little time sometimes it takes to heal. So we've got this really, really lovely, loving, beautiful Mercury actually in the same sign as this moon and sun, really opening us to the opportunity to just, hold yourself back no more. And actually recognize that some of us are actually really, truly driven by nature now and the unconscious all. And some of us, with these feelings and these intuitions and these wants and needs, we are made to progress through this really beautiful, really uncanny, natural, soft, opening, vulnerable feeling that this pig year is now fully ready to show. Full love, a full feeling of vulnerability and innocence, and that's what we probably never thought we would get to, this vibration where we're actually asked and coaxed by the celestial guardians, by the celestial guidelines, to really release that previous gut feeling experience and truly, truly touch life as if you are holding a beautiful rose. And really respect yourself and understand the affections of another, and truly sink into the craft that you're perhaps still working on, or this idea that you're still perfecting, but also realize the sensitivity behind it all, the kind, loving heart beneath your audience, the sensitive, kind, gentle, and opening time that we have at this point is really, really, really awful to mangle up and mix up with false stuff. So yes, you can push. Yes, you could push a cause. Here during this time, if you really never had that audience and never had that say, yeah, you can push through. You can market and arrange things how you like. And for some of us, with marketing perspectives, or with any kind of like force field, opening into people and trying to pry into their experience, yeah, the time has come for an occasional person that has never been seen or understood to really bulk it up and bulk in and just push on through and into somebody else's field. But I feel this usually causes, for most people, repercussion And it's a very rare case where you haven't been hurt so much and now it hurts so intensely, or it needs to be said so roughly or so strongly that it is the time to push or purge or to really make yourself known. If you're one of those very rare, enthusiasts that was not ever really truly understood or classified or recognized, and you never perhaps even needed the stage or the focus, but it's like you're itchy for it. It's like the time has come and it's now or never, and it's like a volcano, it's ready to erupt. Yes, you are perhaps one of the few people, but please be careful of that also. This need to rip at someone else, it's like pulling off their clothes, making them extra vulnerable, vulnerabilizing also yourself to the extreme by playing the master or the corrupter or the unifier, the philosopher. You see? So yeah, for a few people, very few people, in very few cases, for very few reasons, there are definitely times like this when you just open up, you expand and expose life, and you start to really bleed for your cause or open to this grander scheme of presence. But I would actually love you to take a step back and perhaps see how perhaps it's actually just all about compassion. And the time is now to really face yourself in a very, very superb, almost laughable way of how things were too easy to be acceptable to you. You see, like how things could have been so much more easygoing this whole time. How you perhaps have flown all around, tried to do all these different things, and it was all just in the smallest, most sensible, most sensitive, most kindest people and components. Please wake up now. Maybe we all didn't need to do cartwheels after all. Perhaps your insincerity to yourself and your world, especially if your physical form or your financial situation are struggling now, has blocked you off from love, from God, from you. And though you are very, very lucky here, if you've got it, like say you finally have that business, or you finally have that one thing that you perhaps know is going to be yours for a while. If you've got a wild sense of luck and you finally found that big door and you got it and you're kind of like touching it like, oh my gosh, this is going to last me another 7 years of luck. Like this is going to give me another 8 or 9 or 10 20 years of good fortune, or I finally found that one, something like that. Please be careful that you don't just grab what you want from us or in life or from the table, the buffet of experience, and run with it. Like, I got it. There are some of you guys that have definitely got it. You got the cause. You got the center. Maybe you got the funding. Maybe you got the respectable people that are opening and aware of you now. Maybe you got God. Maybe you finally got that final satisfaction from your world. Maybe you got that final satisfied, that, oh yeah. And that's really great and good that you are opening to that feeling, and also maybe that freaky emotionality that sometimes gain brings to you, But please stay careful and true, because kindness matters. Evil things happen for people, for us who don't really care in the end. It's like you got the result. You saw the husk, you saw the grain, you grabbed the grain, you run. You see, like it's like a mouse, like a rat, a little bit. Though actually rats are really beautiful beings and mice. Can we just look at this feeling? Grabbing before time. Tempting somebody into your web. Giving place to only the best. And then just bumping off everything else. It takes more than one component sometimes. Even if you are now completely sure recognized, fully fulfilled, reorganized, ordered, if you are now coming to a sense of order, and if you are early, some of us are early, like more than enough I've said for the last year and a half to minimize and quantum boost your life through clean diet, not too many things, discard everything that you're doing that you know it's not helpful for you and it's not connecting and aligning. Less is more, less is more, less is more. And now some of you guys have somehow figured out that soft spot, that weak spot that you had is perhaps no longer terrifying you, because you now maybe see a very, very easy formula and a very easy shortcut to what you want and how to generate more of what is good for you. So shortcuts, quantum truths, getting rid of the rubble, getting rid of all that miscommunication and shifting messages and shifting personalities in order to really, really connect to that one human you first and foremost, and make it as easy as possible with any process. If you're still concentrating about work, on work, concentrating on your home, concentrating on your kids, if you're still trying to work out something outside of yourself, nobody's outside. Everything is within yourself. If you've got yourself down packed, and if you finalize that feeling or that frequency of, these are the simplest messages. These are the simplest components of my world. Wow, all I needed was this. Wow, what the heck? All came in because I realized how to do it easy, how to do it simple, how much freedom I have now, just through very, very easy, very, very obvious things. And then once you find that feeling of, that's all it was. That's all it is. And now, although you might be the one person who's figured out the puzzle of life, maybe, you may be one of the only people in your family or your company or your job or your group of friends that has got that nice, and we all have it. We all have that part of us that's the genius part that has finally fulfilled its own journey on a level. Like, I figured out how to use that app, and now I don't have to do most of what I've done before. Or all I needed was greens. I'm just on a green diet, and it's just, oh my gosh, it just cuts out all the issues I've had. There is a very, very simplified something. It's like a truth. And if you don't have that truth, you do not need that truth yet. If you're still not able to really fulfill you and feel that, like sentimentality about yourself, it's okay. We got Mars conjunct North Node. We've got Pluto conjunct Saturn opposite Mars and North Node. We've got a very, very heavy heart, also with this very, very violently crucial Chiron, in Aries. We've got a huge, huge density. And some people, on some level, need magic and makeup and dresses and running around, perhaps cheating on their partner, representing themselves falsely in public, walking away from their cause, doing many things at the same time, and trying to crush that feeling, that unfathoming, that feeling, I don't understand what's up. I don't really understand how life works out. Why am I here? Why am I still there? That feeling of density and that sort of sense of like coming back to a tiny house, or like going back to a empty place, or like walking back to loneliness, servitude, issues in the mind, issues in the gut, like issues all around. When you have issues, and if your friends have issues, your family members or loved ones, and they don't really know what's up anymore, it's like I can't fix it. I've had this all my life. I don't understand. And they may not be able to fixate on themselves and to really give themselves this feeling of, yes, mine, I'm me. They can't do it yet. They can't distill who they are because they have created a source disconnect. And you see, these people that are now, flowering in very different or peculiar ways to you, they're running away with multiple people, they trying on different things, they're creating more scatter. Okay, they're scattered, they're drinking. Now obsession, possession with money, with fame, with beauty, with attitude, with calculation, with lust. Any kind of demonic position also when you can see the person is not actually even trying to be themselves anymore. That needs to be seen with compassion. And you got to understand that when you are also yourself, as you guys might be facing this on at least some level, going through this scattering and trying to reinforce perhaps old archaic understandings. Maybe you're taking on society's choice, not your choice. Maybe you're trying to look or present how other people wanted you to, or you are walking away from yourself in any way, and you're trying to do this, and just in a sense looking at life as a mirage or a smorgasbord from which you take, and this hunger or greed or need or perfectionism that is like OCD, deep desire to get, to take. That was meant to be resolved back in Aries actually, and in Taurus solidified. And if we still, at least on some level, experience this need for an agonizing, how can I say, future that is to blow away all the previous ones, and we are teared, we exploded, on some sense, and we wanted to negotiate things on a different level. On the level that's perfect, and that can create worlds and build us a better brain or a better endocrine system. And yes, we can perhaps fall in love with multiple people here and adjust ourselves later with time. But also please consider and create not from that which you know is not going to last. Because we've got Saturn, we've got Jupiter, we've got other things in the sky like Chiron and North Node and such, really telling us this is one of those times in your life that you might remember as a structuring formative and reinformative time. It's a structural, formative, relationship building, source joining time. And if you are in the sense of greed, if you are feeling deprivation and you're working around the clock, or you're clawing at other people, or you're trying to perfect something, and you're like a mouse, it's like rat year is next, after pig year. And if you're already having these tendencies to really claw for the detail and try to get that thing that you want, like that, give me the grain, I don't want the husk, give me the grain. If you're getting greedy, or you have these very curious, unhuman almost needs to suddenly destroy and get what you want. It's like destroying that person and getting that night of passion. It's like destroying your physical form, but creating from it something that you perhaps associate with as beautiful. You see? And also like destroying parts of your life, perhaps also, in order to create some type of bigger picture. If you've got this kind of destroy feeling, like destruction to gain functionality, on a level, it's okay. There are going to be people that, for example, have to lose weight to create a new sensitivity or sensibility or a new structure. Or they have to, for example, weight in all ways, including, karmic weight. There will be people that destroy workload in order to create space. And there are going to be people that destroy other people or nature or themselves in some way to grab and to push and to make and to mend and to destroy for the greater good of that which they think they want. So this tendency to destroy the world in which you live, that sense of destroying your opponent, or the destruction of your mind through like a chemical, for example, or driving yourself to that next mad, big, deep pressure point with this Mars in Cancer. I've already talked about this. Mars in Cancer. It's very dark stuff for some people. If the world is no longer balanced, unless you have that one person, if it's nothing unless you have this one occasion, or if your whole wardrobe is not important, your way of life, your demographic, unless you have that one outlet, or that one brand, or that one freaky way of being. It's like there is an ego change, we have this huge miraculous ending also of, I feel, quite many things that perhaps were sort of sitting with us in the past, but they were just the outer layer. As I've said this many times about this year, it's like layers of skin, and there's old layers that are going to eventually come off. I mean, this is the quantum truth of anything. Something dies, something is ready to be revealed. That's just what life is. It's like never-ending lotus and onion, in one sense. This is going to be one of the best ways to kind of see it. As you see, people don't enter your mind, someone doesn't want to enter your house, people are prevented from making contact with you or making contracts with you. If you're finding that, say, the one that you thought would be in the beginning is not now, or the one that you thought was on the side is now front and center, you need to recognize this as a beautiful, in a sense, moving rhythm. It's more like decorations in a big theatrical production. Something walks in, something walks out. It's like a very interesting kind of like crossroads feeling, I feel, for some people, and a reference point to what this time in your world in the last month, or maybe even a month or two, has actually stuck and really, really felt for you like, ooh, what was this? What was that feeling? Or who was that person? What made you just go, ooh, and all of those chemicals, all those pheromones, the DMT released, what helped you like burst more into this natural DMT, almost like a freak out of enormous resensitizing capacity. It's like, what has raised your kundalini? What has raised that feeling of you, almost like as a flower, recognizing life in you? What has made you excited? What has made you just feel on each chakra? What made you connect all the points? What has made you like come through? Almost like, if you can imagine a hummingbird coming up to a flower and flapping its wings. That's the feeling. If you can, if you blog, if you get excited about this thing, on the internet, as I do, as I am excited about it, welcome. Maybe it's really nice to start blogging. It's really nice to actually start relating to yourself and another. So the one thing you might want to do, take care of, is you, of course, here. But if you're open and creative enough, blog, for sure. But if you're not feeling it, write it down. There are certain things we can create here from our own hearts, from our own soft jello centers. Jello, Peggia, right? Jello. Simple, tiny, small, opening, human, humble, caring, soft, silky things we can make that can actually later on in life create for us really strong situations. And then when you are, say, 30 years from now, you can remember, 2019, I really felt myself touch like soul or self through this book. Like I wrote this really nice poem, or like I felt like my whole body changed during this time. It's like my perspective shifted, or my heart has found itself through another, or this was the time of my life where I really softened and opened and vulnerabilized myself, like an opening to the world, like an opening to receive. Like a it's like soul tantra. You know what I mean? Like I really cracked open, and I've recognized my full expansion was within this. And it could be a poem, it could be a person, it could be a presence, it could be just a home, it could be a style of living, it could be clothing, it could be anything, it could be lots and lots of different things, as small or as large, as a metaphor. It's all as one, as above, so below. So it's like I started wearing lycra. Sure, that's okay, that's fine. That's okay, it's fine. Or like I really started this journey with this guy, or like I started writing music again or something. It doesn't really matter. It's like you just crack open and you see, and who you are feeling with, especially during this time. Write that down. What are the 3 people that you are closest to right now? What are the energies that you reference all the time? You know, what are the feelings? What are the soft-spoken feelings? It's like the kindness. You know, in the end, only kindness matters. You know, it's like that song. It's a really nice song. There's like a silly thing here as well. You know, you might not see it, but like say in that just one outing, or this one little push from source, this like little push, you know, you found a friend, you know, you met somebody online, or you just, I don't know, committed, and you finally painted that picture, you finished your work, you know, you sorted out your wardrobe, you cleaned your house, just in something in the last while, you know, it will take you somewhere. Later, you see, like 30 years later, you'll be going, oh, 2019. And you can just no longer reference other things. You know, there are classic moments. It's not just classic, it's just like a clean, you know, it's like a clean, fresh brilliance that's coming through during this time. And once you understand it, and you, it's like you rub shoulders with it, and you touch it, and you recognize it, and you hold hands with it, especially during Gemini time. You can, on a level, understand your soul and pretend, maybe eventually, how can I say, no longer. You don't have to pretend that you are all these different things. We're looking at changing of faces. We're in Gemini. You know, multitudes, personality changes, personality shifts, personal presence, okay? Once you have this really nice feeling, and you got this this merging with you, please record this if you can. Record it. You know, write it, blog about it, sing it, dance it. Just this nice, it's like the perfect tone. It's like the perfect golden mean. It's not even the golden mean yet. It's like the quantum behind the new sentiments. You see, we are futurizing. It's like we're imprinting for the now, but also for many years to come. It's like we are many during this time. We are formulating basic things into like new beautiful ways. We're freshening up. These tasty things, you know, these people or these situations, these things are just, you don't know why, but it feels just right. You know, like that feeling. Recognize it and receive it and accept it. So that's another thing, is receiving. You know, we've come a long way, but some of us really cannot receive past trauma. It's like, is this going to help me? No? Okay. You know, just receive, and just be like open. It's like being like a child. It's like being like a child again. I've said this a few times. Receiving new clothes from life. You know, like not needing to build on trauma. You know, it's like, oh, you know, packing up, you know, packing in, you know, like sort of building this tower out of yourself, building yourself into this bulletproof center point, center focus for, you know, everybody else to look up to and kind of see you as okay, you know, I'm fine. You don't have to do that stuff. You can just actually deliberately, if you want, and if you do this early, I mean, kudos to you, unpack. You know, unpacking, what I mean is all of these personalities that you've thrown over your face, you know, like all of these people that you have thrown together in order to help you but not touch you. All of these things that you order in your world in order to get you along, get you ahead, get you kind of like unafraid of life. Okay, so I've got this investment, I've got this guy. You know, like, it's like you are saving for a rainy day already. It's like the rat race has begun. And we can see, you know, the ones that kind of like got the golden mean, the golden center, it's like they don't have to work anymore. You know, they found the love of their life, or they're just loving life. They just found themselves. It's just like, tasty stuff. Then you can tell, you know, when someone has something tasty. And here we have the rat race already begin. We got the next year of rat. So people are already like, okay, so who's going to be here for me? Okay, you guys, so who's going to be here for me? You know, and it's like, what are the investment programs that I need in order to get me to a nice age, you know, with a fat bank account, and I can retire early. People can see that. And maybe most of us have that on some level. You know, it's like there's a part that's like, you know, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? And maybe you've already lived through that. And now that's it, basically, this feeling of where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? We have got to think not in terms of where am I going to go, because it prevents you from flying high. It's not about flying high because you have so many bags prepared and your parachute is on you and everything's going okay. You got the best wings out of everybody, you know? It's not about this kind of like competence. It's like, say, I've got the best computer, I had my car serviced, although it is for some people, you know? I've got the best fridge, I got a bulletproof house. Flying high is like more than this, you know? It's like less is more. Like, keep on taking off these layers. It's like no longer, you just don't need to see yourself as this like high quantum person because you've got it all planned out and packed out, you know, and you're like really, really like wearing that armor now, you know, and you've got your teeth on and you've got your wings and you're like sort of ready, Icarus, you know, you're ready. You don't know. It's like life cannot prepare you the same way. When you are too, how can I say, secure in what you think you need for the ride. When you have like, say, you know, too many clothes, you got everything prepared, all packed up, everything is like within this really, really nice, on some level, if you are really, really, really destroying yourself, especially because, yeah, I've said this many times, guilt and shame comes with Jupiter and Sagittarius. If you're really destroying yourself through not being in control enough before, not having the right friends before, not having this before, not having that before, if you're like, ooh, I must, there has to be understanding that on a very, very, very ironic level, the more prepared you have become, the more intense or intensified your senses about, oh, who's there, what's going on, the more abrupt you are with people that you believe don't matter now because you kind of figured it out, and the more like intense you have become due to you wanting to have all the technology, all the things, superfood, you know, gym, dieting, I've got this, I got this, you know, like super presence. It really shows during Gemini, a lot more than you think. The high quantum, almost like a transformer person, you know, that rises up and goes, I've got all my bags, I'm like G.I. Joe, or like I'm like Lara Croft, I don't know, and I've got all these bags and I'm ready for the ride. come what may, life, throw things at me. I'm going. I'm going to be gold. When you realize that you've done it, maybe some of us have done to a degree. It's not a mistake. Some of us had to do it. When you're overprotected and you're overpadded and you have so much completely figured out, it's like American Psycho, the movie. It's like, sorry. It's like your house is completely sterilized and your life is like, and also Fight Club to a degree, yeah, is total. You can actually remove yourself from people. You can remember this time as being so constraining that you don't know who you are later. And you just repeat that picture. It's so easy now to create a timing and then repeat that picture. So it's raining. It's so beautiful outside. I hope this is not too bad on audio. Yes. Please consider how consistency and immortality and consistency might not be the same thing. And how you have to allow freedom and this kind of swirly correlation of the pig year to really kind of like with you. It's like letting the pig year be juicy and strange and kind of contaminating and sweet and crazy and curly. But then also, understanding that you don't need the past. So there is like a very, very future-based timeline here opening, until the 3rd of June, coming back to this direct time, these few days. You might get it, you could very easily get the focus. You could meet the person, you could meet that human. You can do that. You can finally finish something. You can fully put something together. If you are super, super quantum, you can finish that book. You can sew that dress. You can create that timeless feeling for yourself. You can finally fall in love with you, I hope. But also God, creation, the place where you live, the places that you've been. See it all. It's like the eyes are huge. It's like diamond glow eyes during this particular year. And so Gemini, the eyes as well. The eyes, whoa, are awakened. And that means that it has to be okay that sometimes, when we have such huge glow and so much to maybe blame, including ourselves, for the past, it's just very easy to get lost between all these lines unless you are in the heart. So take care of you, take care of your mom, take care of your dad. If you have brothers or sisters, please start really listening. Gemini, sign of the sibling. So take a look, take care. What you want to do is fine. I have Patreon. I'm going to load up a lot of stuff onto Patreon. I've got SoundCloud. I have Facebook and Instagram. It's like, I'm learning. I can't understand Instagram yet. I'm still not quite sure. If you've got tips for Instagram, awesome, fantastic. I don't understand how to use it yet. I've also got merchandise. I've got books. I've got other things. If you're in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, see me. If not, that's okay. Get a reading. Everything is in the section below. And I will see you next time. 12 signs on Patreon. So, one other thing, the poetry thing kind of comes and goes. So, I have this, poetic Tourette's. So sometimes I rhyme. So, my last two series on Patreon are in rhyme. So maybe you like, maybe you don't. I love it. I enjoy it. So maybe I will rhyme these 12 signs for this particular time. Thanks a lot. Also, yes, going through all these different retrogrades and things and other stuff. So take a look. Patreon's got it. And I've got also new blogs as well. New blog on my website, and it'll be going to Patreon soon. So yes, everything's all interlaced. It's all in the section below. And I hope to see you next time. Enjoy. Love you. Thank you. And bye.